Hello, Petite Noix Labradoodle puppy families and all of the fans of our mini Labradoodle puppies. This is a week 1 litter update for these petite Australian Labradoodle puppies. And in today's video, we are going to find out all about the first important milestone. We're going to reveal whether any of these puppies met that milestone. We're also going to give you an update on Mama Labradoodle Noisette, and we'll let you know what the puppies have been doing this past week, what's coming up for next week, and give you some tips on what you should be doing as one of the lucky families who's taking one of these adorable petite Australian Labradoodle puppies home soon. Hi, I'm Claire from Isle Doodles, and these are the petite puppies from our Petite Noix litter. This is Noisette's last litter. She is retiring. This is her 3rd litter, and you can tell this is old hat for her. She's very comfortable in her role, although she's still very serious. She is a highly protective mom. She does not hesitate to growl and tell the other dogs off if they are anywhere near where she considers it to be a threat to her babies. So right now when we're doing the video, we have her door open so she can see through the glass doors where all of our other dogs are milling about, because of course they're curious and want to be part of the action too and want to be near where we are. So when she spots them, you can see she's got her eye out there very vigilantly. When she spots them, she'll often growl and she'll bark to tell them, hey, back away, these are my babies. So Noisette this week has been mostly just caring for her babies. She enjoys going outside, but only for very short periods of time right now. She was really lucky and had a visit from her guardian parents this week, and that really perked her right up. She was quite happy to show her babies off to them. And she's really good with our different caregivers that we have. She loves to share the babies with them. Because this is her final litter, she's quite comfortable to be outside of the whelping box on a sort of regular basis throughout the day. She's very protective and she's attentive, but she's definitely not the type of mom who smothers her puppies. She's more the type of mom who encourages them to problem solve and work things out for themselves. Indeed, to the point where a couple of times this week, somebody's been on the wrong side of her and not quite able to figure out how to get to the right side. And she's just blithely sat there and let them try and work it out. So I've come in and given them a hand and shown them the right direction. Just like I'm going to do with Red Collar Boy here, who's having problems finding his spot at the milk bar. So we just give him a bit of a boost, show him where the empty spot is, and let them get right down to it. There's actually a couple spots here, and sometimes at this age they're not too smart about figuring out how to manage to get to those spots. So then we just give them a little bit of a hand. And if they can't work it out, we'll give it to the other one, and inevitably as they go through this puppy pile here, they work it out. It's amazing how they can solve so many things and worm their way into position even though they are just a week old. Now this video we're doing when the puppies are a little bit older than a week, just because we had Mama Orca who had to leave her puppies for a short period of time due to an infection. She came back, and as we got her back settled in, we weren't able to film the video on our usual day. But here we are now, and nothing dramatic has changed. All the information I'm going to give you is from when the puppies were a week old. So Noisette is still enjoying a really good appetite. She's really good about eating on her own. Sometimes at lunch she's not so keen on anything, and so then we come in and we give her a hand. She enjoys it when we just come and sit and spend time with her. She's a very social girl and really enjoys people being with her. She's a good weight, and she's eating a good 5 times what she normally does. You can see here that there's a good supply at the milk bar. And when we go through their weights, that will show up in the amount that the puppies weigh. So what have the puppies been doing? Well, they've been doing this and sleeping. This is about it. For the first week of life, puppies don't do much of anything. Their whole job is just to eat, sleep, repeat, and grow. And so how do the puppies even know how to find Noisette? How do they know where the milk bar is? And like you saw me just pointing one to the faucet there, how do they find their spots? They can't see and they can't hear. A lot of people don't realize that puppies are born with their eyes and ears sealed shut. Their eyes will open first, anywhere from day 10 to actually all the way through to day 20, their eyes can open, and their ears usually open somewhere around day 21 to day 25. We do have sometimes some more precocious puppies whose ears open very soon after their eyes do, but on average they open their ears at around week 3. So the only thing they really have in terms of any sensory ability is their nose. Now, it's not just that they can smell where Noisette is. That's not really what they're relying on right now. It's because they have heat sensors in their nose. Those noses tell them where the warmth is. And of course, the warmth is where the milk bar is. So they follow their nose, just like dogs do in their whole lives. Noses are everything to dogs. Where for people, we tend to use our eyes to give us most of our information, and our olfactory skills are very low. Our ability to discern any valuable information from our noses is quite limited. Dogs, on the other hand, get pretty much all of their information from their noses. It is their primary way of communicating. So you know when you have two dogs meeting each other and they always sniff each other's bums, and for us we're like, that's a strange thing to want to do. But that's how they meet people. So we might meet somebody, we'll shake their hand, we'll talk to them, we'll get some cues just by looking at them, and then we'll talk to them. We may ask them where they're from, we may ask them what they do, we may ask them all sorts of things, and we get information that way. Well, that's exactly what the dogs are doing when they sniff each other's bums. First of all, they know if it's a girl or a boy. They know if they've been spayed or neutered or not. They know where they've been lately. They can tell if they're unhappy, upset. They can get a whole host of emotional information, which we don't get despite the fact that we can communicate with one another with words. Because we don't say to someone we just met, oh my goodness, I'm feeling so upset and I'm really stressed about this, and you know, I don't have enough money in my bank account and the price of food is through the roof. We don't ever share that information with people on our first meeting. Now, that's not obviously the information a dog gets, but they do know whether the dog is happy, they'll know what age the dog is, and they'll have a really good idea of what it is they ate last. So they get all sorts of info. And that's why it's really important as we go along to recognize that when you go for a walk with your dog, it's not about going and striding along and having some sort of physical exercise. It's about allowing them to stop, sniff, zigzag around, not walking perfectly at a heel by your side. That's a separate thing. What you really want to do on a walk is allow your dog to decompress and also allow your dog to be enriched mentally. That's where all their stimulation, their mental fulfillment comes from, is when they can go somewhere and they can sniff. Even if it's the same spot that they were at just a little while ago, there'll be something new for them to suss out with their noses. So just keep that in mind and don't mistake taking them out for a walk with the need for physical exercise. That might be your goal, and that's something you can do once or twice a day, but what the main goal is to satisfy your dog from infancy right through to geriatric stage is allowing them to sniff. So now, the puppies this week, as I said, have basically just been eating and sleeping and growing. They've got more coordination now. They are not quite up on all fours yet, but they're able to move themselves around more readily, and they're able, as you saw here when they were just first starting to nurse, they're able to worm their way in and use their heads and thought patterns to figure out how to get at the milk bar. They also are very skilled at using their voices when they want to say something isn't right. And if Noisette's not listening, they are very well aware of how to amp that up to make sure that the people are going to come and attend to them if Noisette is ignoring them. And Noisette never ever leaves them in any sort of distress. She just, because she's experienced, she's like, they're all right, they'll be fine. And she's quite happy for us to come in and look after whatever minor mishap may have occurred. So now the first milestone for these puppies is going to be whether they've doubled their birth weight or not. And now why is that important? It's just laying the foundation for their growth. What we really want is for them to double their birth weight within hopefully the first 10 days. If they do it in the first week, bonus. If it takes them 2 weeks, it's okay still. It's just a little slower than we would like ideally. And why would they or would they not double their weight? So a couple of things go into play there. Part of it is the nutrition that mom is getting and how much milk she has. And we monitor their milk bars very carefully. We want to make sure that they don't have too much milk and end up with mastitis because there's perhaps not enough puppies that are draining the mom. So we check for that all the time. And we also want to make sure that there is enough milk to support the number of puppies there are. So if they are not draining her properly, we have a couple of natural remedies that we use to make sure we don't develop any mastitis. And if they don't have enough milk, what we do is give them the same thing that we actually give to human moms if they don't have enough milk, and that's fenugreek. It's just a natural herb. We just sprinkle it over their food and stir it in, and it smells like maple syrup. And you know when the girl has enough fenugreek when it smells like pancakes pretty much when you come in the room. When they smell like maple syrup, then they have had enough and it's time to stop. We don't give them a huge amount all at once. We do it gradually because it can sometimes lead to them having a loose stool, which isn't ideal. Now, what do you need to be doing as one of the lucky families for this litter at this point? Well, mostly what you need to be doing right now is starting to think about how you're going to figure things out in your home once you have a dog living with you. You're all going to get a video that's going to go into this in a little bit more detail. But while you're waiting for that video, start thinking about what door should your dog be using to go to the bathroom. You want it to be a door that's easy for the dog to get to. If you have kids, easy for your kids to open and close the door. Somewhere where you can leave their harness and leash if you want to take them to a specific spot. I would suggest that initially you just pick them up and you take them to that spot. By the time you fuss around getting the harness and the leash on, when they're little babies, they likely will have already gone on the floor right at the door. Not ideal. So just pick them up. These guys are all going to be super little, and take them to the place it is that you want them to go to the bathroom. If you don't have a fence or there's a risk of them being able to get away, pick them up, grab the leash and the harness, take them to the spot, just stand right there, they'll go right away, then you can put the leash and the harness on. They'll almost always pee right away. You might have to wait a little bit of time for the poop to happen. The other thing you want to start to do is figure out any areas that you want to block off where your dog's not going to go. Figure out how you're going to do that. This is a great place to use the X-Pen that comes in your puppy starter kit. That is a really good way to also set up an area in your home for when you're busy. You don't want to use the hands-free leash that comes in your starter kit, and you want your puppy to have a safe spot for a nap. Then you just are going to reconfigure the X-Pen so they can do that. The X-Pen's easy to use and move around. If you've got stairs, you don't want your dog using the stairs for 6 months, so you will probably want to get a baby gate. Amazon has some really nice looking ones, and they're pressure ones, so you don't have to worry about drilling holes in your walls or anything like that. Just put a little towel behind the pressure point though so it doesn't wreck your wall. And you want to start getting your kids and yourself into the mindset where you're picking things up. What's a puppy's most favorite thing to chew? What's one of the most expensive things that you carry around with you? It's your cell phone. They love to eat cell phones. What's the thing that you probably use every evening? Your remote control, another very popular item to be chewed. What's another thing? shoes, socks. Socks can pose a terrible danger to your dog. If a dog eats a sock and they inhale it and they swallow it, it can cause an obstruction in the bowel, and that is quite a pricey surgery. So you don't want to leave any socks or shoes around. Your purse as well. Anything you have, you want to figure out where is a really good high spot. Start changing your habits now. So in 8 weeks when your baby comes home, you're already used to hanging this up here and putting that there and closing this door. You're also going to want to take a look at any cords that you may have because puppies do love to chew on electrical cords, which of course is not good for puppies. And of course plants. If you have any plants, they will chew the leaves. A lot of plants are toxic to dogs, so you want to put your plants up really high too. It's all short term. You don't have to do this permanently and have your house look strange, but you want to make sure that you do have all of these things looked after for the day that your puppy gets home. Now you can, if you wish, pick your puppy starter kit up on family visit day. Most people find this is really helpful. You can take most everything home. You can get everything set up. It gives you a chance to sort of move things around and see where things do and don't work well. So if you want to do that, just let me know that you would like to pick it up on the family visit day so I can have everything ready for you. And the other thing is picking a name. Try and choose something that's really unique. The reason why we say that is so that, first of all, your dog recognizes their name more readily. It's not something they hear all the time because there's not 50 spots everywhere they go. Their name is different and they're really able to hear it, recognize it, and respond to it. Something that's easy for people to say and spell, especially if you've got children or grandchildren, and something ideally that's a couple of syllables so you can shorten it, or something you can make a nickname with. So with my dog Ripple, she has lots of different names. So if I just want her to come, I may go, hey, Rip, Rip, Rippy, Dippity Doo, whatever I'm going to call her. Whereas if I want her attention, I'll go Ripple. And she knows right away. There's 2 syllables, it's her whole name. It's sort of like when we call our kids and we use both of their names. So my son's name is Jeremy John Edward, and if I really wanted his attention when he was young, it would be Jeremy John instead of just, hey, Jer. So just keep that in mind. And something that has some meaning to you. Noisette means hazelnut in French, and that's her name because her mom's name is Hazel. And then her daughter from her middle litter, her name is Lamande, which also means hazel. And then we are not sure what we are going to call this puppy, but something that has something to do with nuts, I hope. You may want to have something that's relative to Vancouver Island. You may want to have something that's relative to Australia. Anything that means something to you, or it could be something entirely different. Maybe you got married on Maui and you want to call your dog Maui. Whatever it is, but something that has some significance to you. So now let's go talk about the puppies, which is far more interesting than anything else, right, Noisette? Except for you, of course. No, except for you. So we're going to go through the puppies in birth order, and we are going to tell you who did and who didn't make that first milestone. So the first puppy in this litter is Pink Collar Girl, our little mini Noisette here, and everybody is nursing, and I always have to see if this is pink collar. No, that's yellow. Pink collar's over here. She's probably going to be annoyed because she's got a really prized spot here underneath the milk bar. This is what I mean about problem solving. So you can see she's figured out how to go on the other side of the milk bar there because these places were all being used. So she just wormed her way in there and got underneath. That's a smart girl. That's a smart girl. Hello, baby girl. So this little girl is a chocolate. She's probably a sable. She didn't show me anything particular that made me think she was a sable, but because mom's a sable and sable is dominant, most likely that is what she is. Whatever she is, she's a beautiful little girl. And Miss Pinky, at 1 week, is 576 grams. And yes, she did double her birth weight. Way to go, Pink. Way to go, Noisette. Now we'll just angle her back over there so she can maybe find her spot again. Then we've got Blue Collar, who's very conveniently right here in nursing. Blue collar, it was the first of the boys, and everybody else is a boy. And we're just going to double check each time, because on Bocce's litter, I had said one dog was a girl and he is a boy. So I always like to double check, because when we're doing these things, puppies come fast and furious, and just to make sure that we've got it right. So this little guy is a beautiful blonde caramel. He's got that little bit of white on his face and a little goatee, just like Mama. Hey, such a sweet baby. And Mr. Blue is 444 grams at 1 week. He was 99% of his birth weight, so he just missed doubling it by a smidge, but I think if we'd weighed him later in the day, he would have made it. So we're going to say he made that first important milestone. Then we've got green collar, which we just have to hear he is. I keep wanting to say she, but we know Noisette and Rocky decided that boys were what we needed this time. This green collar is another beautiful blonde caramel, and by Noisette. And green collar is almost a tuxedo. Tons of white under the chest, under the neck there. Lots of white on the paws. This is a really pretty little blonde bombshell here. Not sure if you can be a bombshell if you're a boy, but we'll call you that, right, Green? And Green at 1 week was 429 grams and did hit that doubling the birth weight milestone. Then we go to yellow collar, and that's you over here. Yellow collar is the other chocolate, except for this one is the boy. And I, again, am not sure if this yellow is a sable or not. Normally when puppies are sables, they have a really dark line down their back, and they have some other striations in their coat right from the beginning. And I don't see any striations, and I didn't see the line, but I do see a little bit of what I'm talking about in terms of different hues up here on the head. So maybe. Doesn't make any difference though. Yellow at 1 week was 492 grams, and he doubled his birth weight very nicely. Thank you very much. Then we have red collar boy. And red collar boy is also a caramel. This is a great way to see all of the different hues we have here. So we have green, who is the blondest of the caramels. Then we've got blue, who's more of a biscuit kind of caramel color. And then we have the two red caramels, and then we have the two dark chocolates. So we go from the lightest to the darkest there. We've really got quite a beautiful array of colors here. So Mr. Red Collar Boy, hello, our first of the reds here. I'm just loosening up some of these collars. They grow so fast, it's hard to keep up with them. Yeah, yes it is. And he is pretty much a solid. He has a little bit of white on his chin there. He's got some white underneath his feet, but you're not going to ever see that once he's grown up. That's going to be all covered by hair. And Mr. Red Collar at 1 week was 558 grams, and he also had no problem doubling his birth weight. Right, handsome? And then last but not least is Silver Collar Boy, and that's him here. You can see his little tail lights here on the foot that he's showing us. Come here, baby. And he's also a red caramel, and he is just a smidge less red than Red Collar. Yeah, hi. And he's got lots of white. He's a flashy puppy. He's got all that white going up the middle of his nose there, up the middle of his head rather, all around his nose, underneath his tummy. He's got little tiny toe tips that are white. When he's older, you'll probably see the white just peeking out on these hind legs, but you won't see it on these front legs so much. Oh, that's a big yawn. It's an exhausting day. And Silver was 553 grams, and he also hit that first milestone. So great group of puppies, all doing really well, making those milestones and just really thriving from Mama Noisette's milk bar. And so that is our update for this week. Now what we'll be looking for next week is eyes starting to open. That's something that could happen anywhere from day 10 forward. So we'll be keeping our eyes open to see when their eyes open. And we hope you're subscribed to our channel. We'd love for you to comment if you have a moment, or at least give us a thumbs up if you don't have the time for a comment. We love to chat. We love to hear from you. Right, Noisette? Yeah. We love to hear all of your thoughts and any questions that you might have. We're always happy to try and answer anything that you might want to know more about when it comes to Australian Labradoodles. Thanks so much for watching. He's a good girl.